Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is Book Chats. I'm going to try to make this a short, concise, and wonderful video today because I want all of you to join me, or to definitely consider joining me, in the 2016 Debut Author Challenge. I participated in the Debut Author Challenge since 2012, I think, but I'm going to explain the challenge first instead of getting off into the details of it. So this challenge is really simple and really easy in that there are not a lot of rules and there's not a lot of expectations. There are things you can do to participate more and be part of giveaways, and there's a bunch of things that are really more like the book blogging community, but you could totally be part of. But I have never participated in those aspects of it because I'm lazy. The gist of the challenge is that you are challenging yourself to read. For the official challenge, it's supposed to be at least 12, but if you want to participate with me on a smaller scale, you're totally welcome to. I do not mind. But challenging yourself to read at least 12 books that are middle grade, young adult, or new adult debuts for those authors. Now, those authors can be debuts in one of three ways. They can be a straight up, this is the first book that has been published by this author in either middle grade, young adult, or new adult as a genre. It can be, this is the first non-self-published book that this author has had published in one of those three genres. Or it can be, this is a known adult author and this is their first book written for children. I mean, I don't know if new adult counts as children. Those are the three things, but if they've written middle grade before and it's their first young adult, that doesn't count. You read 12 during the year, and actually you get an extra month. So it's between January 1st of 2016 and January 31st of 2017, and that's give you an extra month for any December debuts. Oh, and you're supposed to review every book that you read in some way, either share your thoughts on a blog, on Goodreads, on your channel, in some way, because the idea behind this challenge is that debut authors do not get a lot of press. Yes, there's the Victoria Aveyard of the world who gets a huge publishing push and a huge marketing spend, but for every Victoria Aveyard and Red Queen, there are tens of books that don't get anything or get very little push from their publisher and the marketing department, and they don't have those other books that you've read or the other following to get people to read them. So debuts can be really important, and that's why we're reviewing them, because we want to get the word out there. Because how many of you have not read a book or decided not to pick up a book because there weren't enough reviews and you didn't have an idea of whether or not you would like it yet? That is what we're doing, is we're just trying to get a volume of reviews out there for these debut books, for these debut authors, so they can get more out there. And yes, you can read Red Queen. I read Red Queen for 2015. What? It was not my favorite book of the year. But you can also read those small books that no one has talked about. So I think I've covered the basic rules, but I'm gonna put a link down below to the sign up form where you can officially sign up if you want to. And also it tells the rules in more depth, and it talks about how this is open to international and how that works for international participants. And you can be part of the giveaways that happen and part of the blog events. I also participate on Goodreads. There's a Goodreads group, but I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm going to link it down below, but the Goodreads group is pretty dead and mostly is used so you can put the little goal on your sidebar and be like, what? I've read 6 of 12, which is where I'm at right now. And it is December, which is kind of a problem. I'm doing worse this year than in previous years. So now I'm going to talk about why I participate in this challenge and why I love it. I've participated in every year since I first started, which I believe is 2012. What I love about this challenge is that it just gives me this incredibly broad look at what is new and what is happening in YA. And I do find great, amazing authors through it. And some of them are write standalones and some of them write series. And I found great series through it. But I also get an idea of what kind of writing is out there, and I get to see the whole spectrum. And I've gotten a lot better because when I started doing this, I didn't write a lot of reviews, and now I write more reviews, but it really forced me to look at what do I like and not like about this book, and is it something that's subjective? I don't like this particular thing because I don't like that in my books, or is it something that's objective? It's choppy, or it could have been better edited. I really like that it gives me that. Every year that I participated, I've actually fallen out and had a pretty good bell curve. There are a couple books that stand out for how awful they are. There's a couple books that stand out for how amazing they are. And there's a lot of books that are just good, but not amazing. And I'm still glad that I read them because I got to be part of that author's journey, and I got to be one of the first people. And one of the things that I really love about this, I've participated in several years in a row, and now it's giving me such a spectrum of authors, because when you don't read, force yourself to read new authors, you can tend to gravitate towards authors you're already familiar with, that authors that people already know. But in this, these are authors that aren't necessarily already known and authors that you have not read before, and so it just gives you this wide spectrum. So when someone's oh, have you heard of Kat Winters? She's awesome. I can be like, actually, I have heard of Kat Winters. I read her debut in The Shadow of Blackbirds. Gets you connected to authors in a different way because you have to research, like, is this their debut? And there are ways you can just pull off of lists that people have already created, but I like to kind of look into, like, is this their debut? What it's about? Do you think I'm going to like it? What are people already saying about it? I just highly, highly recommend this challenge. If you have any questions about it, come talk to me. Another quick thing, the best thing to do with this challenge is to recruit your friends to join you. So I mentioned before that the Goodreads group is kind of dead, although we could change that. And also that I haven't participated in kind of the other aspects of it, which means I just can't comment on what they're like. So you might be thinking, like, why does she love this challenge and why does she keep doing this if she doesn't, like, do anything with other people? Well, the truth is that I do things with other people. Every year that I've done this challenge, I've recruited at least one friend to do it with me, and it's just so wonderful to discuss with those friends. Like, we discuss on Goodreads, we discuss, like, oh, hey, I read this debut and you should pick it up. Like, Stephanie 2 years ago was like, hey, you should pick up Half Bad, and I loved it. It was, like, possibly my favorite debut of that year. And it's one of those things that, like, you read this book that not a ton of other people have necessarily read because it's a debut, although if it's, you know, An Ember in the Ashes or Red Queen, everyone's read it. But if it's not that, then you've read this book that not everyone has read, and you have someone to discuss it with you, or you read this book and you're like, dude, friend, avoid that one, it's a stinker. So I just love that aspect of it, and so I definitely recommend that you recruit a friend, or if you're like, I don't have any friends to recruit, like, I will be doing this challenge. Befriend me on Goodreads or talk to me on Twitter, because you might not want to befriend me on Goodreads because I'm basically obsessed with Goodreads and your entire feed will be me. If you befriend me on Goodreads, heads up, sorry. Talk to me on Twitter, talk to me here on my channel. I am going to make a point in 2016, now that I've talked about this, of actually discussing and reviewing every book that I read for the challenge on my channel, even the ones I don't really like would hold me to that. I'm going to try to read one a month, and then I'm going to try to give away my favorites. So here are the things that you can hold me to: discussing every book that I read for this challenge on my channel next year, trying to read one a month, although it's sometimes difficult because I do get a lot of my books from the library and it can take a while for them to get debuts, giving away my favorites. So hold me to those three things, and please, please join me. I should have said this. This challenge has a weird and interesting history. The first year I joined it, the blogger who was running it, there was some kind of scandal in the blogger world, and she ended up dropping out of blogging, and I don't know, and it kind of got, like, tossed off someone else, and tossed off someone else. But this past year, it was run by Jana, I think it's Jana, from ThatArtsyReaderGirl, and she did a great job. I didn't see any blips or any problems, and she will be hosting it again this year. I will put a link to her blog below. I will put a link to the Goodreads blog below, and I will put a link to the Twitter below, although the Twitter is pretty inactive. And please, please comment and let me know if you want to join this challenge with me next year. I would be so ridiculously excited for you to join this with me, because this challenge is really my favorite challenge. Please, please join the 2016 Debut Author Challenge with me and let me know down below. Thanks and gigum! At least I have till January 31st, right? And January 31st of... Sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm, like, super loopy today because I'm like, I look so glam. What? Holla to my friend Stephanie, who is doing it with me in 2015, and I think we'll be doing it again in 2016, right? She's at Shine Notebooks. You should check out her channel. It's awesome. I was like, Steph, you've got to read this book. It is so good.